being on the record groove of your choice. Just pay attention. Pay attention to what you're seeing. Which life script are we walking? Now, for the average person who is making these decisions, they're, of course, and logically so, I did it for a long time in my life, trying to pick one of the life scripts that you think is going to lead you to a more enjoyable life. Out of the 1,000, let's say 100 would be fairly enjoyable lives. Let's say, because I think it's more preponderance here to, of course, to the suffering side. So let's say there's 250 that would be really bad. And then you've got kind of like in the 600 range that are, okay, not so great, kind of average, kind of difficult. When you would see trains, particularly when trains used to run more, when that was a more passenger option. It still is a bit in Europe, but back in the old days when they even still had locomotives, and when a train would come to a place where it would fork off, where it could go two different directions, there was a switch point, and that switch point, let's say if it was up, you went left, if it was down, the train would go right. It would move the track onto which area it was moving, so that a train could come to the point, and then depending which direction they had to go, as long as it's a switch, right? I think that's what it's called. Depending on where the switch was, would determine which way the train would go. And there are certain moments in our lives where there is the opportunity to change to a different life script, change to a different life stream. And if you don't like your life, for some reason, if you don't like it, that's what you're looking for. When is this moment when it's like, hey, it's a switch point, I have to flick the switch now, and I'll be moving in a different direction. I'll be moving on a totally different timeline. And the more you begin to recognize this, the more you can start moving around on these different scripts. There's one life script built in that takes you out of here. And all that has to be done is locate the life script, or locate when the opportunity for that life script appears, and then take it with no questions asked. And every time there's a switch point where you could get off that path, where you could be usually tempted to get off of it, but in many cases frightened to continue because it's so hard, it's so difficult. So they've given you something easier or something different or whatever that you just, once you've got the exiting the matrix stream, you stay on it and you just allow it to unfold, and it will work out. You have to get to know the character you play unbelievably well, one's awareness unbelievably clear, to be able to be still enough to recognize what's going on. It's not about being present in the moment or living life wonderfully. It's about being able to be clear enough to know what's going on, why it's going on, and to know which train track should you be on if a switch moment is happening. That is to be aware enough that I'm at a switch moment, and then to be able to very quickly ascertain that the situation that exists and decide, do I want to switch? Do I want to make the switch to a different life stream? Do I want to make the switch to a slightly different life script? And again, if for the average person, it's going to be just, does this give me a more enjoyable life? And there's nothing wrong with that. But if your message is, if it's to exit the cave, to exit the matrix, then it's finding that one pathway. And that's one of the reasons it's so difficult to exit the matrix, because there's only one life script to do. Again, it's a theory, but it feels very, very true to me. I found that life a number of years ago. There was a particular moment, and I made a pretty intense choice, but I made it. And I've kept walking that road ever since. And it's been difficult. And then once you get on such a path, it's going to be challenging. That doesn't mean it's going to be horrible or awful. It could, sure. But it's structured a particular way for the character that you are playing in this particular simulacra video game, that it's built for the character, for certain things to occur, for you might say, for the character to check off its totality and eventually end its experience within this realm. And it's hard to say what it is. It's not like, oh, I'm quitting my job and taking this other job. It's not, they're not major marker signs often like that. They are often choices of what's important to you within. They're often choices that make you have to say, like I say, my life, that would have to say, this is what's important about how this character needs to live. And so the character is going to live that way, even if it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. Even if logically, it doesn't really, if I explain it to a good friend of mine, they're going to look at me like, that sounds really strange. But within, we know, this is a shift that has to happen for something much bigger to occur, for some sort of possibility to happen. Life script. I think once you get on it for a while, there'll be a recognition of, well, I think I'm on it now. I think this is it. I think this is the direction now. And that exit the matrix life script is going to require you to drop a lot of stuff. A lot of the stuff that would be in all of the other lives. A lot of the stuff. Remember, I've experienced various parallel lives, not just this one. So I've experienced multiple life scripts, multiple life streams, even though the character sitting here hasn't lived them in this particular life, but I've accessed what this character's gone through in other iterations of being in this realm, in this body, in this experience. And then the job becomes, how well can you just follow the life script that takes you out of the matrix and not get jumpy, not get, I don't like this one's not fun, I'm not having as much fun in this one, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. It's like, but exiting the matrix for each person, question in quotation marks, right? Each consciousness in a body in the matrix will have its own particular challenging journey out of the matrix. And it will be unique, totally unique for your character. So the point being is, you have to locate that. And you have to be okay with how that's going to be walked. And you have to be okay that it's not going to be like anyone else's, and it's probably not going to make you a lot of friends. It's probably not going to make you very popular. It's probably not going to be, you're probably not going to wake up every morning overjoyed with the day you're going to have, necessarily. Except at a very deep, unexplained part of yourself, you feel unbelievably content and unbelievably calm. Get through your traumas, get through your difficulties, get through where you're held up, get through where your mind is a problem, get through where you're stuck. Because a life script is simply a record groove, where once the needle gets onto the song of a record, it's just going to play until the song is over. And if there's another song, well, it'll go to the next one, it'll go to the next one. It literally has to be picked up and moved to a different place to hear a different song. So picking the needle up, in a sense, that's changing a life stream. The last song possible on a record in this metaphor is the exiting the cave one. And all you have to do is let the needle play its way around the groove, around the groove, around the groove, play the song, play the song, play the song, until it reaches the end. There's no more songs.